Hi everyone, welcome to another video, and today I just finished cleaning my Merida 200. I was looking at the bike and I thought, yes, she should deserve a little bit more time on my channel. It's the one I use for my commuting, especially wet and winter commuting. I got this bike in January 2020, so I had it for almost 2.5 years, and it's been really fantastic, especially considering the price I paid for it. I was looking at the internet, various similar bikes on this price level. I wasn't going to spend much for my first bike, so anything between £500–600, £700. So in the UK you do have the choice of the Carrera bikes, the one offered through Halfords, the chain here. Then Decathlon have good offering at a low price point. Pushing up, maybe the Specialized Alley. All these bikes are very similar. Aluminium frame, carbon fork, and depending on how much you want to spend, you do have the low tier Shimano gears, starting from Claris, and if you spend a little bit more, Sora. And, one evening, my good friend Davide was with us for dinner. He's a very experienced cyclist. We were looking through the internet and he came across through this Merida on the Threads website. Threads, they do have a good relationship, I believe, with Merida. They always offer a good range. And straight away, this bike seemed to tick all the boxes. It was offered at a discount from £1,000 to £600 and had a fantastic aluminium frame, carbon fork and Sora gears. Fantastic offer, and I could not resist and I got the bike. And when it arrived, I was so happy. I could not believe how beautiful this bike looked. It is called Scultura, as in sculpture, and believe me, the shape is unbelievable. All the joints are perfectly soldered, very good finish, pearlescent paint. I could not have been happier with the bike. And in a way it was good that with Davide we selected this one with disc brakes. I didn't know anything about disc versus rim at that time. It was going to be my first bike, and in hindsight I'm very happy that we went for this, because now I use this bike for commuting in the rain, in the winter, whatever the conditions, and disc brakes in this instance offer a lot more longevity for the long term riding in the grit and in the wet conditions. The integration with disc brakes is very basic. These are cable operated disc brakes, so the very base ones, and at the front you do have the through axle, as you would expect on disc brake bikes, but at the rear you still have a quick release, which is a bit odd. The hybrid combination, it looks like the transition between rim brakes to disc was a bit more crude in this instance. The shape of the tubing is again fantastic. It's such a smooth, nice design. The down tube is from just an aesthetic point of view really beautiful. The geometry is not extreme, a little bit more relaxed than my Canyon Ultimate, so I had to make some changes in the setup to mirror the position on the Merida to the Canyon Ultimate. In particular, the bike comes with a usual seat post with a little bit of a setback, and I bought this Brand X seat post with an inline attachment because I wanted to be a little bit more forward, because the Ultimate has got a steeper seat tube and the overall forward position more aggressive. At the same time, I changed the stem from 11 to 12 centimeters and also reduced the height of the fork, cut it out. Now the position is so much more efficient, and this bike really came alive, and not as fast as the Canyon, but on a straight road without gradient, of course, where you feel the weight, this bike is almost as fast as my Ultimate. The bike is fitted as standard with all Merida components. The saddle they came with was decent, not bad, but maybe for a more upright position, if I were going to rotate a lot more forward, it was starting to hurt. Then I decided to fit my Selle Italia Novus. It's the same one that I ride on the Canyon. I changed the bar tape with this fabric tape that's been extremely resistant. Hasn't moved in almost 2 years, so yeah, very good value from fabric for that tape. Levers are Sora levers. There is no reservoir for the braking fluid, of course, here, because the discs are cable actuated. And in 2.5 years with the Merida, hard life for this bike, because the 6,000, 7,000 kilometers I've done with it, they were all hard for the conditions, because when I got the Canyon, and if the weather is nice, I tend to use that one. So unfortunately the poor Merida gets relegated where the conditions are not good. Things that went wrong then, the bottom bracket. As you can see here, you do see a full Sora group set when the bike doesn't come with the Sora cranks. Possibly for cutting costs, the bike is fitted with FSA cranks. So with the Sora group set, you do have the rear derailleur, the levers, and the front derailleur, but you don't get the crank set. And I have to say, the FSA that came with it is not that good. The bottom bracket failed. It was going all wonky in January this year, and I fitted with a full Sora crankset that is so much smoother, so much better, than really improved the bike a lot. The gearing is for this type of bike usually towards the low end of the gearing, so it comes with a 50-34 crankset, what is called the compact, and the bike came with an 1128 cassette, which usually on these bikes you tend to go for maybe 1130 or 1132, and for me at the beginning the 28 at the back, even with the 34, was quite hard to push on the steeper hills, so I swapped with the 1132 at the back. Now I don't go with this bike to the hills anymore because it's hard. So the main drawback of this Scultura is its weight, and I found it out the hard way. My good friend Jeffrey took me to the Surrey Hills and I went with the Merida, and it was really hard effort, because this bike, unfortunately, because of the cost of it, is not engineered to be light, and as soon as the gradient goes up you feel it on your legs, and also when you accelerate it doesn't have that snappiness that you would expect on a much lighter bike. So let's have a look how much it weighs. So the bike is, yes, slightly more than 10 kilos. So over 10 kilos is definitely not the lightest bike. My arm is still aching. And bearing in mind, I also carry the saddlebag with the 2 tubes and all the tools, computer, the water bottle. Definitely is not something that will fly on the hill, but it's perfectly good for the daily commute. Another change I made on the bike are the wheels, and I got something, not really a huge upgrade, but something that looked nicer from Fulcrum. The Fulcrum Racing 4 disc brakes. Again, basic wheels, aluminium with a small profile, but they look much nicer and I went for them. The discs also had to be changed because the standard wheels were fitted with a 5-bolt and the Fulcrum wheels were coming with a center lock. So I had to change the discs as well, and I went for this Shimano for mountain bike. not knowing that Shimano was going also to later change their road disc design to actually get closer to the mountain bike ones. So these discs actually fit quite well on the bike now. The wheels were okay. Within the hard life under the rain and cold winter, I had to change the bearings front and rear, and the freewheel as well. They came loose under my immense power, but you know, I can justify that failure. This is the full setup for the commute. Powerful light. I always run with the light. Small consideration, don't raise the level of the light to blind your fellow road users, and I always use this kind of blinking that is halfway between a steady light and a blinking, because if you go for the strobo flash in the night, it's not really useful to be seen. The strong steady light will eat your battery quite fast, and I believe this is really the best compromise to be seen night and day. At the back as well, a powerful design, and the saddlebag at the back always with me, with 2 tubes, all the tools, levers as usual, multi-tool, because the time that I got stranded on the road during the winter, there are quite a few times, and I run gato skin Continentals. Quite strong tire, not the very best for grip, I have to say. They are quite good for winter ride, because I haven't had, you know, fairness, many punctures, but the grip is not the best. The compound can get slippery at times. The GP 4 Seasons or the GP 5000 I have on my canyons are day and night in comparison. They are extremely good. You do pay the price for the better quality, but it's definitely on a different level. The Saver is a good improvement. It does give you a good protection for the spray on your back, and it's much better than running any fenders that I don't particularly like on the road bike. In summary, yes, it is a beautiful bike, unbelievable value. It does go really well now, especially that it's fitted with a full Sora crankset, very smooth. Brakes are okay. They are not comparable, of course, to hydraulic disc brakes. They are a lot more powerful, but I don't really feel the need for my winter commute to have anything better at the moment. The weight is, of course, the main drawback of this bike to enjoy on a performance side on the hills, but I have to say, for London ride is extremely capable. Some bikes are offered now in the market around the 9 kilos mark that are priced about £2,000-3,000, and I don't really see where in a kilo or so you would need to pay a lot more for those bikes. But that's just my opinion, guys. I have, for the performance, my Rim Brake Canyon Ultimate, way much lighter, about 7.5 kilos, and it's a completely different level. I'm so grateful to have the Merida as a faithful companion for my commute, my wet and cold commute, and so far it's been extremely good. You don't see Meridas in the US, fun enough, because Merida owns Specialized. They do build specialized bikes, and I think they have their arrangements not to export Merida bikes in the US. So you will see this definitely in Europe and of course in the Far East. If you do have a Scultura or any Merida, let me know your feedback. I would love to hear from you in the comments. Thank you as usual for watching. I'll see you to the next video. Ciao!